unsettling news for the economy. Unemployment just hit a 4-year high last month, reaching 4.6%. On top of that, hiring has slowed and Americans' hourly wages grew at the slowest rate in 4 years as well. The economy, though, added 64,000 jobs in November, but that comes after 105,000 American jobs were lost in October. But the White House is celebrating that job report while ignoring the fact that it also revised down the jobs added in August and September by 33,000. Now, there is a twist. When it comes to the economy, the vice president's rhetoric does not match the president's now.
If we keep wages high, we keep energy prices low, we keep on chipping away at the affordability crisis created by Joe Biden's administration, yes, I believe the American people are going to reward us because the American people are smart. They know Rome wasn't built in a day. They know what Joe Biden broke is not going to get fixed in a week. You know, I hear these Democrats talk about this as if you were going to fix these problems in a single day.
Starting on day one, we will end inflation and make America affordable again. Starting on day one, we will end inflation and make America affordable again. We'll do that. We've got to bring it down. Starting the day I take the oath of office, I will rapidly drive prices down and we will make America affordable again. So when I win, I will immediately bring prices down starting on day one.
So you did hear Vance at the beginning there admitting there is an affordability crisis, but he is urging patience, which is not what voters were promised when the president was elected. Still, Vance says the Trump administration is simply trying to clean up Biden's mess, and he couldn't be happier with where things stand now.
President Trump last week gave his economy a grade of A++++. What grade would you give the economy today?
A+++. Look,
All right, joining us at the table, Rana Farrar has just arrived just in time. A++++. We heard that from the president. We are now hearing that from the vice president. What grade do you give the economy?
Oh, boy. Well, you know, we started a few years back post-COVID with an A+ recovery. I mean, it was the best recovery in the rich world. Since then, things have softened. Look, the jobs market is softening. Inflation is up. I would have to say B, and moving into B- territory probably. And look, you know, I say this often, presidents take a lot of blame. Joe Biden took a lot of blame for inflation. Not all of it was his fault. Trump is going to take the heat now. I mean, I think it's sort of interesting that he won the election in part because he was able to blame the previous administration. But the affordability crisis is now his to own. And to be honest, I thought it was always disingenuous and it was going to catch up with him that he was saying, I'm going to lower prices on day one. Because if you think about what this administration is trying to do, and frankly, what the Biden administration tried to do in some ways, it's not disinflationary. Reindustrialization, bringing manufacturing back to the U.S., it's inflationary. Now, I've been for some of that, but in the long, you know, that's the long term. Short to midterm, inflationary. Building out AI, inflationary. Healthcare, the costs going up big time, inflationary. So there's not a lot that you can point to that the president can really leverage in any way to say, yeah, I'm going to get prices down. I don't think they're going to come down. I think they're going up.
Lydia?
Tariffs, another thing. We haven't even gotten to that yet, but.
Do you think that the Trump administration, and Trump in particular himself, is doing the same thing that the Biden administration did, which was to say, the economy's fine. What are you guys complaining about? It's like doing well.
Well, it's interesting. This panel has criticized Trump for sort of being out of touch and a billionaire and sort of gaslighting people. And clearly, J.D. Vance, we saw, is taking a very different tact. He's acknowledging that people are feeling pain and feeling a pinch and also saying, look, it's going to get better. And I think that's a really smart strategy because the reality is that prices are up 25% since Joe Biden took office. That isn't going to change. But what J.D. Vance is painting is the fact that we are moving into a better economy and that in a year, people will feel the benefit of tax cuts. They'll start to feel some of the benefits of the policies that Trump is putting in place. And I think that's a smart way to do it because clearly Americans are not happy. Consumer sentiment is not great. Acknowledging that and then taking it a step further and saying, okay, well, here's everything we're doing. And I think there are a lot of positive things they can point to.
Do you think it's
real wage growth?
Yeah. Do you think it's confusing though to people to hear Trump saying like everything's fine I don't know what you people are complaining about, and then hearing the vice president say, well, there is an affordability crisis.
I think they're two very different messengers. I think people know that Trump can be a little hyperbolic.
Yeah.
It's the best, it's the worst. He that's how he speaks. He speaks very
Yes,
plainly.
okay,
and
I'll
he's certainly a compelling advocate
I'll
for
answer
his
that.
beliefs. But look, obviously Vance understands how poor and middle class people are living. He's from a tough background, and so I think he maybe resonates more with those folks than Trump or anyone else does because of his background.
Good job. You tried it. It's confusing. Last week, President Trump said that affordability was a hoax. After Mandami won on the messaging of affordability, he went out and said it's a hoax, a hoax, a hoax. Now you have J.D. Vance who's saying it's not a hoax. It's actually affordability is an issue. And when I was here a couple months ago, remember, Scott, we were talking about healthcare reform. Remember when we did this thing called the government shutdown? And Republicans said they're going to be, having votes in good faith. And now here we are just today deciding that, no, they actually won't be doing anything to reduce healthcare. And that will be going up triple amounts in January. And that's not a hoax. That's an actual real thing that's actually going to hurt people. People are actually going to die. So this is no longer just a conversation on the cost of eggs and, oh, J.D. Vance says this and oh, this. This is not a messaging issue. This is a real problem that people are feeling. Trump said day one, stand on it. You said day one, and here we are, day what? 365?
Almost.
Yeah. So no, it hasn't been fixed. And their messaging needs to get on point, but not just their messaging, their actual policy needs to be in place to fix the problem.
Yeah, it's interesting because I think showing up in I agree with you in the sense that showing up in Pennsylvania and saying, yeah, there's an affordability crisis, that's a good move politically. One of the things I was disappointed about during the Biden administration is that there wasn't more acknowledgement of that, particularly during Kamala Harris's campaign. But I got to say, the policies that both administrations and the Trump administration with tariffs are trying to put forward, these are not quick fixes. This is about essentially changing the whole structure of the economy, which was always in the last 50 years about driving prices down, but it did that in part by putting work abroad, by outsourcing, and now we're trying to change that paradigm. It is not a quick fix. And then you've got totally separate things like healthcare, which P.S. I think is going to be the biggest midterm and presidential election
They're
issue.
throwing 20 million.
Some Republicans are saying the same thing.
Marjorie
John,
Taylor Greene
last
has
word.
been trying to warn Republicans that throwing 20 million souls off the healthcare rolls in Medicare is going to hurt red state voters.
Yes, it
She
is.
has not been listened to. A+++ is not a real review. That is like a guy reviewing his own restaurant on Yelp. It's not a real thing.
It's so funny how Marjorie Taylor Greene has become a darling.
No, she's not a
the
darling.
left
She's
after
still a-
hearing that
She's
she
still
was.
a deeply dishonest person who's trying to save her own skin.
That's
But
right.
yet, J.D. Vance
But
in the same
yet you
speech.
quote her as
Yes,
an
I
authority.
did, because she's telling the truth about one thing. I'll
So
praise her when she tells
Now
the
that
truth.
she's
So when she helps
J.D.
your
Vance,
arguments, it's
in
fine.
one speech, said there's an affordability crisis, and I give it A+++. Which one is it, huh? Biden left us a disaster, or things are going great? It's not confusion. It's straight up tap dancing, double talking jive with these
That's
people. J.D. Vance does have a true rags to riches story, but he uses that as moral cover for policies that hurt the same kind of people he used to be.
That's right.
You talked about the outsourcing, and I agree with you. And that's, I think a lot of the people who came into the Trump coalition are mad that we spent a long time building an economy that pushed jobs away from middle America, pushed jobs away from the industrial base of this country. And even today, I was looking at the jobs report. All the net job growth during the Trump administration has gone to American-born workers, which is something they tout, but it's part of the long-term restructuring. And so I think JD's message here has been the way out of this is wage growth, jobs for American citizens, and we keep energy prices low. If you talk to Scott Bessent, he'll tell you he has extreme confidence that the economy is going to continue to see job boom in 2026 because of the tax and deregulation changes they made in 2025.
And if
So
not, he'll be fine.
When you hear the president express optimism, it's because his economic advisors say you made the correct changes in 25 and it'll pay dividends in
They
26.
can't
It's
sound
going to be
right.
a very interesting experiment to see whether that will actually work. Are we going to get animal spirits up by doing the things that you're talking about? Or are we at this pivot point? I mean, inflation tends to rise and fall in 4-year cycles. We're in a cycle that is going up at a time when many things are unstable. Tariffs, I mean, you can argue for them. I argue for them on China, not on the whole world. They are inflationary. And AI is disrupting jobs in the middle market. A lot of college grads can't find jobs. So there's just all these things in play. very difficult to tell how the policies are
But
going
what
to
is
And here's, and we're going to pause it here, but just sort of the final thing is that a lot of Americans will be hurting when it comes to healthcare.
Yes,
That is a real
100%.
thing.
Well, the
What's
House
the
Republicans,
answer?
the House Republicans are actually going to vote on a bill this week.
We
The
will see if
CBO score,
Yeah.
12% reduction in premiums. The Democratic alternative, only a 5% reduction. So if you want to vote for a bill this week in the House that lowers healthcare premiums, you could vote for the Republican plan.
we will see what happens
We'll see
going
it.
forward. Rana, thank you so much for
Thank
joining
you.
us. Ahead, Kash Patel under fire tonight as an interview airs with him and his girlfriend during another manhunt. That story next.